afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia on Free Range, and I'm here with Sterling Hill and Lisa from the Women's Center for Healing and Trauma or Transformation. I'm sorry. Transformation. I'm sorry. Okay. So we are going to talk about a number of things, but Lisa is an expert in hypnosis, and we were going to cover that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Lisa?
Hi, Gail. Good afternoon, actually. It's so wonderful to be with y'all. So wonderful. My name is Lisa Sigsworth. I'm a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse since 1993. I've been in the field of hospice since 1989. I found my mom dead, and I got into education first and then into nursing. And I spent most of my time in grieving and loss and end-of-life care. About 6 years ago, I decided to expand what I knew by getting my master level hypnotist, because people want something different now. People don't want to be drugged up. People do not want medications for depression or anxiety or maybe even pain control. And hypnosis is absolutely amazing when it comes to doing that, allowing your mind to be able to completely take over your body in a way that it can calm it at just a snap of the fingers. Maybe even take that pain away that you're having and to dial it down some. Very interesting. And it became amazing to be able to watch that in progress to work. It's absolutely amazing. I'm also a level 2 RC Fire Reiki Master. I enjoy that. That's actually been very helpful with my hypnosis sessions that I do. I have a book out called Crossing Over Your Guide to Dying with Dignity. It works with people at the end of life to be able to get to the point where they can die mentally. You know, there's a lot of stuff written about physically dying, but nobody talks about how hard it is to cross over and go beyond from your mind. What about your goals? Letting go of your goals. What about the people? Everybody has goals. Everybody has things to do. And so hypnosis actually is amazing when it comes to this, because you can actually identify things in your mind that may help you whenever it comes to letting go of this world and being able to transmigrate over to the next. It's amazing. It's amazing. A lot of people don't realize that it does take a lot of energy to die, but a lot of times at the very end of life, it's mental. It's letting go of what you know here, because right now we're programmed to know what's around us because we're comfortable with that. But when it comes time to being able to go forward into the spiritual realm, it's very, very hard. And it doesn't matter what your religious background is. You're about to find out if it's true or not.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't realize that. And so I kind of got more involved with that. I'm actually an international speaker on grieving and loss and with the hypnosis societies. I'm a certified hypnosis instructor through ICBCH and International Hypnosis Federation, which is actually in Los Angeles. I go over there once a year and teach on grieving and loss. So
you mentioned the Reiki part of it. How does that, could you explain that a little bit more?
Whenever I'm working with a client and I know that I can help them a lot more, once I get them into a state of hypnosis, which hypnosis is, we're in a state of hypnosis all the time. It's a natural state for us to be in. It's because you don't realize until you are unhypnotized that you're hypnotized. We spoke about it a minute ago about driving from point A to point B. And you remember how you got there? That's road hypnosis. Maybe you were in love and you didn't figure out what was happening after you got out of love because you were mesmerized. You were hypnotized by that person and what they surrounded you with. And so hypnosis is very common with us on a day-to-day basis. We just don't realize it. We are programmed from the time that we are born to know exactly what is around us. And so working with people in the societies about teaching on grieving and loss and letting go is a very big part of what I do.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. Because, you know, it's just one of those things. And the Reiki actually helps me because when I get them into a state of hypnosis, then I can work with them to make sure they release what they need to. It's an energy field. Reiki works with the energy fields in your body to promote healing and also to be able to relax you and help you work on the things that you need to do. And so does hypnosis. And so they go a lot hand in hand, and they do an absolutely amazing together. They're very amazing.
You know what they
I
say a lot.
also maybe
Go ahead.
huh? I said
I
I'm
will.
also lead them. Whenever I'm able to do the Reiki, I'm able to help them more because a lot of times they're stuck somewhere and they don't quite know what's happened to them or what's going on. So with the Reiki, I'm able to uncover some of those issues.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's important because we do get stuck in different areas and different parts of our chakra system. We get blocks and so on.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, you know, they say we're robotons sometimes. Would that be like when we're walking around in basically an almost unconscious state, doing things that we're so accustomed to doing that it's almost like a hypnotic state? Is that?
Yes. I can say yes, because you're actually into a state of where your mind doesn't have to think. Once it puts itself into that level or that little compartment, then you're doing the stuff as you are in rote memory and rote because of the fact that you don't have to think about it. It's just something that comes to you automatically.
You know, that's kind of scary because what that reminds me of is I always say we're on the hamster wheel of life. We get up, we go to work, we got to, you know, it's been broken now because of what's happened with this COVID thing, hoax or what have you. But anyway, you know how we get up, we go to work, we come home, we eat, we go watch TV, maybe go to sleep, and it starts all over again.
Yeah.
It's just
It is, because we turned off that part of our brain. From the very beginning of our life, we are taught everything that we know. From the minute that you come out of your mother, you open your eyes, you start recording everything around you. From the time you were little, somebody told you what you were to believe, what you were to see, what everything around you say. Beside you is a chair. You were told that that was a chair. So you have matrixed it into your mind as a chair. So once you go into another room or a different room, or say somewhere completely odd, so you fly to a different country like I did when I went to India. You fly to a different country, you see something because you actually can identify that that is a chair. I know that that's a chair because my mind has made it into a chair. Because it's the closest thing that you know, because we can only see that which our mind has already been accustomed or has already seen. Doesn't that open up a whole different realm for you if you haven't ever seen an alien, or if you haven't seen something in the spiritual realm, or orbs or different things? If you haven't seen it before, then your mind isn't able to process that. The mind's an absolutely amazing computer program on there. And so everything that we have ever seen, smelled, touched, any sense that we have is recorded in our data banks. The super subconscious that is located inside of our brain, that little, well, sometimes he or she is not a good person, but they don't know if they're good or not because it knows no right or wrong. It is a lawmaker. The super subconscious is inside of us, and everything that we've ever done is recorded. It doesn't know if it's right. It doesn't know if it's wrong. Now, if you were to go and stick your hand in the fire, it would definitely try to make you quit because it knows that it's hot and hurt. Okay. It's a rule. It's a law. So if you take something that extreme all the way up to you got your heart broke when you were 16 years old and you were at a pizza place, 20 years later, you just don't like pizza, but you never have figured out why.
Oh, wow, that's good. I like that.
Think about it. You don't like pizza, but you don't really know why you don't like pizza, but it was because in your mind, super subconscious wrote down, you cried and you were heartbroken because of that. And you may not remember this, but in a very deep state of hypnosis, you're able to pull that memory up and release it. And then you might like pizza later, or you might not. But the bigger thing is you're able to pull that up. And a lot of hypnotists, that's what we do. Whenever you say hypnotist, people go, that's not what we do all the time.
I always see the whole thing going back and forth, and you're going like this.
In my eyes, that is not all that hypnotists do. Of course, there's some of the guys and girls who are wonderful at stage hypnosis. I'm not a stage hypnotist. I work with people one-on-one, and I work with groups, but not to do the fun stuff like that. Although some of the stuff I've done with past life regressions have been very fun.
I bet. That must be fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
I always felt like I couldn't be hypnotized now. Where does that come from?
Well, that's because you have a sense of control, and maybe also because of what somebody has told you about hypnosis. You do not lose control in hypnosis. You allow your body to relax. And in order to be able to relax, then you go into a state of deep relaxation and allowing yourself to drift. And it's kind of like astral travel can go into that realm, guided imagery or advanced meditation. I learned advanced meditation in Dharamsala, India, allowing where the Tibetan monks can actually go all over the place and be in the same place at the same time. It's amazing how they do that.
Did you say Darjeeling?
Dharamsala. Dharamsala. That's where the Dalai Lama residence there in India. It's in the northern part of India. I went to study death and dying, grieving loss, and advanced meditation. It's very interesting.
Wow.
And it's been able to help me to maintain a very wonderful sense of peace during this time frame. I don't rattle easy. But the hypnosis part for you on you don't think you can be hypnotized. If you were to think back to a scenario where you wrote or you did something wrote and you don't remember doing it, that's when your mind clicked off into a state of relaxation, because of the fact that you've done it so many times that it didn't have to actually put the thinking cap on.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it that way, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it didn't have to do anything. So it's actually a resting state for the mind, and to be able to relax, to allow it to be able to access different information. From that state of relaxation, you can actually access a lot of things, not only inside of yourself, but you could, if you wanted to, be able to access the spiritual plane, the cognitive knowledge bands up around that float around our world all the time, common knowledge. Cognitive reasoning sits there and intermingles with that to be able to give you greater thought processes. Albert Einstein, Nicholas Tesla, the different ones like that, put themselves into a different state in order to access the knowledge bands, to be able to bring to them different things to allow themselves the freedom to do that.
Is that like the universal mind that they talk about?
Yes, the universal knowledge band. Everything is out there, has always been there, and it always is accessible. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, John Young, wrote a book, The Wasteland, The Bad of the Wastelands, I think. Hold on, I wrote myself a note from The Wasteland. When he and I were talking about this book, come to find out, we didn't know each other during this time frame, but some of the characters in the book were the same characters that I had met over my lifetime. Several of the dreams that I'd had in past life regressions were also in his book. The amazing thing is that prior to us meeting and when he wrote this book, it was an amazing thing that I had already seen. So it was a knowledge band or past life where everybody can access different things that need to be accessed.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting the way that the mind and the energy levels around us can work, where you can tap into it, but you can't tap into it if you are distracted or you have diversions that are keep you from being able to focus in.
Mind chatter that people talk about. Like I can't turn
So
off.
can
That's
you
what
tell us more about past life regression and maybe about some past lives on other planets and on other dimensions?
Yes. Um, Whenever you go into a past life and you're sitting there, remember when we were little, a lot of people always told us, don't daydream. You're just sitting over there, just daydreaming. And we were always told that we had active imaginations. Active imaginations help us to be able to tap into different things that happen with us. Dreams, whenever I put someone into a past life, I make sure that they understand they can open the door. One of the techniques that I use is once I get them into a state of hypnosis where they're relaxed, and I ask them a permission. You always ask permission. It's always, because if they come to you, they're going to ask permission. That's something that they're interested in. Once they go into it, they can actually open the door to their own house, and then there's a long hallway, and I'll ask them, go to the door of the life that's affecting you right now, or the one that you're most interested in. They go down the hallway, they open the door, I ask, what do you see? We are natural born storytellers. Everything in our life has been told to us in a story, written, computerized, verbal. Everything in our past life was the same way. Transmigration of the soul teaches us that we go backwards and forwards to be able to tell what's going on in our past life. The reason we don't remember that in this life is it's kind of like a vampire. I'm going to use that as an example. You know, they walk through time supposedly, and they know all these people, and then they watch these people going forward. If you were to remember all of your past lives, the effect that it would have on your surroundings and the people you were interacting with, you would no longer be able to say your husband or your wife killed you in a previous life. You know, there was something about them that you just didn't like, but you loved them anyway because you were attracted to them because they felt familiar.
Uh-huh.
That movement in time, that would also, they have karma that they have to be able to release from a previous life. And that's one of the things that we do with the past life release. A core transformation, you let go of all the other things that came over with you. But going back into a past life and into a past dimension, it's harder to go into a forward facing dimension because of the fact that if you're not on the right frequency level, you're not able to do that. So you have to be able to raise your frequency level in order to go to the dimensions.
Yeah, well, I know all about frequency. You really do. That's how I can work with the energies and the energies of golden light that people see around me all the time. And then the blue lights that come too.
Yeah.
It's because I'm at a higher frequency.
There's also one of the things that we have to also realize is that we want other people to be on a higher frequency, but that's not their karmatic return in this lifetime. Some people, shark is a shark is a shark. They swim as sharks. I just read an article that was amazing to me, that some people don't have an internal dialogue. To me, I know. I was like completely baffled. And then I was also like, a light went on. That explains a whole lot.
That explains why people aren't awake, right?
Yes, they don't have an internal monologue. Their dialogue only happens when they're talking to somebody, and it immediately comes in and out their mouth. They don't have like that internal monologue. And I'm thinking, I have an internal monologue all the time. And that's what you're saying, Gail, about the voices and talking and listening and chattering. In hypnosis, whenever you put somebody into a state of hypnosis, you can access that. And you can actually turn it up, turn it down to be able to focus. to be able to focus a little better on that. A friend of mine actually healed her MS with use of hypnosis and what she called nanobots. And so you put it into a nanobot into your body, and it goes into that little spot in your DNA and starts trying to heal it. Our bodies are amazing. Our mind is absolutely incredible as to what you can do to be able to heal your body, move your body. But you also have to remember that karma and moving through your lifetimes, you're working through things from the past also, which gives you an opportunity to know why and what's happening to you right now on this plane. It's a difference to be able to do that. But past lives are great. Some people like to do it because they want to find out if, well, to be honest, a lot of them come to me and they ask me, I want to know if I was with my husband before, my wife before. You know, is this my soulmate? Well, what? You know, we have lots of soulmates. Well, you know, if we're born into a whole group of people, we're always meant to meet those people that we're supposed to be with. And I mean, and even in good or bad, because those are our lessons. I try to tell everybody, don't view it as a problem. Once you view everything as a challenge and a lesson, it gives you the ability and the power to be able to move past that and to grow. If you see it as a problem or a stopping point, you stop. But if you say everything's just a challenge and this is a lesson, then you're able to build your lesson plan in order to help you get through it and around it.
That makes so much sense.
And so hypnosis actually helps you to identify those components and let go of them. Because many times we're stuck in a rut. We're stuck where we can't move forward and we don't know why. Maybe there's nothing in this life. Maybe it was a past life. So that's where you would want to get healing from, to let go of it. But even in this life, our mind is such an amazing computer system that you have files that you have locked away in your mind, things that you didn't remember, and maybe even a small thing. Maybe, and I'll give you an example of one, a lady was told that she was not very pretty by one of her friends in first grade. Now, over the years, she forgot about it and she didn't think about it, but she never did feel right. Even after she went to high school and college, she always felt ugly. And she was a beautiful woman. But because of that, in a hypnosis session, put her down in there, she was able to go back and heal that child wound. Because that was a child wound from her and what she did. Many times the other component that hurts us a lot is our perspective. One of my favorite books in the world is The Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. But the one thing that you have to realize that we all come into this from our perspective. If you have a candle in the middle of the room and three people walk into that room, one person's going to look at that candle and go, what a beautiful candle. It lights the room up. Another person will come in and go, that candle casts such strange shadows. The other person comes in, don't need to extinguish that candle before it burns the house down.
That's true.
Three people who came into a room saw the exact same candle and had three different perspectives. They came to that perspective because of the way that they were taught to view something. They came from their perspective. They were programmed to be able to view that in that perspective. So they will never be able to, unless they have therapy and do some other things, they can't really look at it a different way.
You know what thought came to my mind that when you were saying that is, we, as people, we have a tendency to judge others. And that is so bad because we don't have any clue where they're coming from and why they might say what they say. And just like your examples with the candles there.
Yeah, in the mornings, we have these programs that are very harmful to us that we keep. So, for instance, on that morning, I wake up with that old program where it's like, oh, okay, this person's going to bother me and that person's going to, and I'm just, and I notice I'm in this negative mood from this bad programming I have in the morning. So when I get into that rut, what I'll do is I'll lay in bed and I'll do affirmations. I'm healing. I'm loved. It's going to be a beautiful day, you know, and I will not move out of the bed until I reprogram myself.
And that's actually a form of self-hypnosis. We can self-hypnotize in order to be able to go into a deeper realm for ourselves, and the self-affirmations and being able to see yourself. Many people write on the law of attraction. The law of attraction actually works a lot of times, but the reason that it doesn't work is because the person actually can't do and believe those self-affirmations. You have to take that ramp up into the next shift. You have to shift yourself into seeing yourself and believing it. And it's always that little person that's standing on this side of the corner going, nah. Ooh, you're lying to yourself. It's this little person over here that you have to thump off sometimes. And that is one of the things that we have to realize, that we tell ourselves every day what we've programmed ourselves. We are coming into this perspective from the way that we were raised. We were told, just like with the chair example earlier, you were told everything that you've been programmed to know about in this world. At some point, it becomes evident that you have to become unhypnotized. And it's kind of funny, if you do unhypnotize or you hypnotize someone, you can actually tell them that that chair is a table, and they will directly know that that is a table. And if you were to open their eyes, say, open your eyes, what is this? They will tell you it's a table. Because of the fact that you reprogrammed what they were seeing. Very easy to do on there. Because once you do that, you can actually make you turn around and you'll look at that chair and you know it's a table. And you'll say it's a table. So unhypnotizing someone actually wipes away their memory banks on that for a brief moment. Because once you come out of hypnosis, you're not going to stay. If someone puts you in a state of hypnosis, you're going to go to sleep and you'll wake back up and then you'll hopefully reboot. However, it's very easy to change that perspective. If you're going to have somebody, they want to quit smoking, you turn the cigarettes into trash or something that they don't like. Okay. And so then whenever they pick up that cigarette and they put it in their mouth, it tastes like whatever they hate.
It's funny that you brought up cigarette smoking, because I told a friend of mine that I was talking to a hypnosis expert, and that was the first thing she asked. She said to me, well, can you use hypnosis to get off of cigarettes, because I want to quit smoking? Is that possible?
Yes. If they're out in California, Northern California, a real good friend of mine, Ken Guzzo, runs a smoking cessation program there. And in the south part of California, Shelley Stockwell Nicholas. So there are some really good ones out there that can sit there and help you to do that. But the one bigger thing is you gotta wanna. You gotta want to. You know, I will tell you a funny one. The very first time I had anything to do with hypnosis, I decided that I wanted to go to stop eating as much. I wanted to lose weight. So I went to the hypnotist and he put me down, and I came back and I quit smoking. Now, I was a happy smoker. That was not what I wanted to do. I really wanted to, I didn't mind smoking. I went to not eat anymore so I could lose weight. And so I went back to him and he goes, well, that's obviously what your body needed. Your super subconscious made a decision for you at that point that you needed to quit smoking. So it eliminated that process. It was amazing. Super subconscious will do everything for you. It will sabotage you, and you won't even see it coming. People who say that they are they're clumsy, they're klutzy, things fall out in front of them. By the time that they're older and they've been told all their life that they're clumsy and klutzy, they're going to pull that right off into their realm of existence.
Yeah, that's where I'd like to cut in at. I get a lot of people that the minute they talk to me, they're so negative. The smart meter's killing them, the Wi-Fi's killing them, the cell phone's killing them, the mold in the house is killing them, the toxins from the chemtrails are killing them and stuff. I'm like, if you keep on saying that, it's going to kill you eventually.
Yes.
Okay. Your body will, your cells will see it as it comes in as damaging. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, you're almighty protected, because you're saying that I'm not harmed from the smart meter. I'm not being harmed from the mold, not being harmed from the chemtrails. Okay. Right. But when you do that, you give yourself an ability to put a protective frequency around the cells in your body. And that has been scientifically proven. So I try to get a lot of my clients to see that. I do energy work with them. I don't do hypnosis, but I do energy work with them to clear it. I mean, you're absolutely right, Lisa. It's, you know, your subconscious, it could really do some damage to you if you keep on saying that on a daily basis. That's why I wake up every morning with positive affirmations. I'm successful. I'm loved. I have friends. I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful. I have money, you know, and things come to you when you keep on with those positive affirmations, because you can actually, if you keep on thinking, well, I don't deserve money, money's bad and stuff like that, you don't realize that you will actually start steering yourself away from becoming successful.
Yes.
And making money.
You know, one of the things that happens to us is that when I was talking earlier about super subconscious, he's the lawmaker, she is the lawmaker inside of you. You've written a law saying, I am broke. Okay. Well, the universe is definitely going to help your super subconscious, because your super subconscious is the one that is connected to the universal consciousness. And so universal consciousness is going to pull in exactly what you want. And we have to be very careful about what we say, because there was all these sayings, be careful what you wish for. Well, if you're sitting there continuing to repeat a pattern to yourself, you're actually wishing for it. So that genie's going to make it appear. And it might not be what you want, you know. So it's an amazing thing that happens.
That programming is so true, and I you know, experienced it myself, especially with, you know, abundance, like what you were talking about, Sterling, in that thinking that you're poor, or you can't afford this, or you can't do that, and that mindset is exactly what will keep you right where you're at.
Yes.
And on a further note on that, the thing that I used to get so annoyed. I used to work in hospitals, and I worked with, you know, cancer patients and so on. And doctors would go in and they would tell people, well, you have 6 months to live. That would make me so angry, because they program those people to die, because that's what they will concentrate on after that. And I've seen it so many times, and it's really sad. But would you agree with that? That helps program them for their death?
We are finite humans. Humans like final destinies, I guess. We are unable to expand our mind beyond the finite, you know, the realm of what we have. Having been an oncology nurse before I went into hospice,
Yes.
I was in there with them, and the first thing out of a lot of the family's mouth was, how long do they have? How long do I have? And the doctor, when he would say, I'm going to give you a week or 2 weeks or a month, 6 months, whenever the end of that time frame come, they were mad. They were very upset, because they had their little watch out going, you said I was going to die in 2 weeks and I'm still here. Because they've gotten and I like to call that anticipatory grief. I just did a thing on anticipatory grief. Anticipatory grief is you waiting on the next shoe to fall. You're waiting on catastrophe to happen, and you have gotten yourself so worked up with anxiety, depression, and anger and everything when it doesn't happen, and you've given yourself a time frame. That just makes things a lot worse. I always said, I don't know how long you have. That's between you and your maker, whoever you believe in. But let's just get you where you need to go, and keep it comfortable, and we'll go from there. And you'll be here until you're not.
You know what, I like that way of putting it. I just used to hate it when they would give them a time frame, and that's interesting that you said about if they didn't die in that time frame. Because I know someone, another friend of mine, who was told over 10 years ago that they were going to die in 6 months, you know, and they managed to prove that wrong. And it's just, it depends how easily somebody allows them to be programmed.
Yeah.
I was told I was going to die too.
Yep.
She's my witness. Yeah. She was part of my hospice nursing.
You there, Sterling?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you've gone into that digital thing. Okay, there you are. Now, what were you saying?
I was saying that, you know, I was on hospice at one time. You were part of my nursing. Yes. So, look, it's what, 11 years later?
Yeah, probably a lot more. Actually, it's been longer than that. It was right after Katrina, wasn't it?
Maybe that's when I started really falling ill, is after Katrina. Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like it's freezing up a little bit here. Something's going on.
Yeah. I think I'm freezing up a little bit. It should stop. Are y'all
having bad weather there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, it says that your bandwidth is low, Sterling, right now.
Wait, we lost you.
It's so funny the way she disappeared.
Just went off into the world. But you know, the collective consciousness and working with it in hypnosis, we do a lot of that with the past life regression. And I like to use the past life regression on that to make sure that they understand that some of the things that they may be experiencing, they have to really know what they're doing, because if you go into the collective consciousness, you're going to get everybody's information. Okay. So what you've seen, what you've heard, everything that you've done, once it goes in there, you have to make sure that you understand what's going on. The people who come and they do the past life regressions, they understand that that's what they're doing. So they've set their intention. Does that make sense? You set your intention so that whenever your mind goes into that relaxed state, it's not hunting for other options. It's not looking for the collective consciousness. It's not going into the Akashic Records. It's not doing those things. It's set its intention to be able to go into a past life so that you can go in that one direction.
I think that is beneficial for people to do that, that it actually helps them.
Some people it is, some people it's not. I've had some people that ask me, I want to do a past life regression. Why do you want to do a past life regression? Well, I'd like to know why I'm scared of frogs. I'm just going to say scared of frogs. Okay, well, what we can do is we'll go into we'll put you in a state of hypnosis, and come to find out they were afraid of frogs ever since they were about 1.5 years old, when one jumped in their face. So the life that they were wanting information from was this one. So they're not going to go back into a past life once they resolve that issue. Some people are just nosy. They just like to find out. That's what I did some of mine on. But I also wanted to find out some other information about why I did things certain ways. Why, one of them, I was a Sibylline in one of mine with the oracles. And my death was very traumatic. They threw me off a cliff. I've been afraid of heights ever since I've always been afraid of heights my entire life. And so that was actually one of the things that I was able to do some resolution to. So resolving an issue in this life can be helpful. When it comes to people that you're surrounded with, some people want to know why they're attracted to a specific type of person, maybe a narcissist. Empaths like narcissists. We have a tendency also as nurses and caregivers to like narcissists because we think we can fix them. But in hypnosis, whenever we're working with the past lives. You want to know why you're going into it. Sometimes it's just for fun. Some people don't get a lot out of it. Some people do. We're all not Cleopatra. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. If you're going to do a past life, don't be upset when you're not a famous figure. There weren't that many famous figures, those people that stick out in history, but you were in your lineage. You were the person that you were supposed to be in that life to learn your lessons there. Even if you were nothing more than a small child in the Middle East walking down the street and you realized that you were run over by a wagon. You had no shoes on. You were a slave. You were a very poor person. Maybe you were on the edges of Calcutta. Maybe you were a soldier in one of the armies. But there were so many regular people, and that's one of the things that a lot of people want to know in a past life was, who were they? And they have high hopes that they were like someone famous, and that's not necessarily true. So those people are the ones who come back normally going, oh, I'm not too thrilled with this, but they have to realize that was part of their growth, and that's what got them to where they are now.
How about the past lives on other planets and other dimensions, though? How many people ask for that one?
A few do.
I'm pretty sure those are interesting.
Those are very interesting. And people say, well, how would you transmigrate to a different planet? It's very easy, because you have to realize our Earth has been here many of thousands and thousands of years. How many times has our Earth and our solar system gone through energy fields of planets that have been destroyed? The energy that is created is always created. It's always there. It doesn't go anywhere else. And so as our planet goes through the solar system and it goes through the energy fields of other planets, you're going to have people who have transmigrated here. Their energies are here. And so once they come in here, then they go into the cycle of birth and rebirth. So yes, they're going to remember a planet there. Do we hyperlink? I have a friend of mine who comes from the Pleiades. She's wonderful, but this was her second time here, but she's still learning a lot. We can move through different realms. Depends on what we need to learn. You know, if you've learned everything that you're going to, and you've been in and out of this place, then you need to go somewhere else. Time to learn something new. Time to go through that. So once you go back into the energy field in the cosmos, you have all kinds of different areas to go to. Dimensionals, unless they are able to raise their vibrational pattern on this side, because this is where you learn. You can't raise your vibrational pattern unless you learn the lessons that you need to be able to raise you to a different level. It's like going to school. You can't go from kindergarten to 12th grade if you're not ready. So you have to go kindergarten and then first grade, and then you go up a level, and it's just like going to school. And it is basically school. So as we're able to go that route, then you're able to go into the different dimensions. Did that help? Confusion? Yes, ma'am.
Someone would need to be able to raise their vibration in order to visit another realm. Is that?
No. That would be able to, if they're going to go into a higher dimension. Dimensions are a tad bit different. You can't see what's on the next dimension until you get to that frequency level to be able to go there into that dimension.
Now, let me ask you this. You know, Lisa, I've died and come back a few times, and everybody now can see with the naked eye the energies around me. And the energies are not all coming from me. Some are visiting me. Some are not good. Some are good. I know how to shoo away the ones not too good now. But it's almost like I took something from somewhere else and brought it back with me each and every time, right? How would you
actually Whenever when you came back on that, you actually gained sight. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
You
what I see. I have.
gained an ability. Whenever you come back, almost every near-death experience that comes in, when they come back, they have certain abilities. They
I have
were
it too.
leveled up according to what they needed. Or some of them came back, some of them tell you they don't want to see spooks. They don't want to see spirits. they do not want that gift. That was not a gift they asked
Yeah, this
for,
is
but
what I got. I got the message that I got is I had to die to come there because they had to give me something I needed here. That's what I got the last time, is that they had to give me something here. And that's when my life started transforming into what I do now. So.
Is that like downloads?
Yeah,
Sterling?
downloads. I would say, I mean, I get downloads in my sleep that I'll wake up sitting up and I'm speaking another language, and then I'll plop right back down. And if there's somebody laying by me, they'll be paralyzed down where they can't get up and say, hey, she's downloading again. And they don't even know the language. It's not even of this earth. So I figured it's coming from Sirius, because that's where I know I'm from.
amazing. Yeah, the downloads happen, but whenever you die and come back, that you do bring stuff back with you.
I brought a lot of interesting things back with me. Yeah, I like the tall one that comes in. He's in his he's in his
A celestial
cloak. He's in his cloak, and it's fur going all the way down, and there's everything on the universe. But the first time he came to visit me, he was like poking me on the arm so hard, he left me a bruise, man. Stabbing one I brought back with me.
You know, one of the things that we had wrote down to talk about too was the Akashic Records.
Yeah, the Akashic Records.
Yes, the Akashic Records. There's a lot that have been said about the Akashic Records and accessing the Akashic Records, and certain people say that they're the only ones that can do your Akashic Records. And you know, you have to sit in the bath for 20 minutes with Epsom salt, and here we're going to put a whole bunch of sage around us, and rituals is what I'm getting at. And that if you don't do these certain rituals, you can't do this. Well, if you have always remembered everything in your mind from the time that you opened your eyes, you already have a record, a complete and total tally record, whether you remember it or not, in your mind. If you go backwards in time, then your spiritual mind and your spiritual energy also has, and I'll put it in a new age, a new word, chip. Okay, so like a computer chip. So your spiritual energy signature already has that information embedded in it. It's accessing that computer chip, or that. Then I'm using computer chip because it's easy to put a video. Okay, yeah. Because most people, if you're talking about certain things, and I'm a real simple person when it comes to that, I like to have a visual of something that's known where I can matrix it. Okay, and because some people can't matrix in their mind, and now that I found out that some people don't have an internal dialogue, it's just been strange for me. But, you have that information already, so you can access your computer chip. Your energy signature. Now, some people will go all the way back and say, if you are part of the lineage would be the people in the spiritual lines that are on the other side. The other side has spiritual lines, and you have so many ones to come through. Those lineages can also be part of what you access in your Akashic Records. Akashic Records Hall, a hall of records. You can actually go into yours or somebody in your families to see if you actually are experiencing familial karma, because family lineage lines on the other side, and the ones that we have here, because then we have genetic lineage lines bringing in that spirit, that energy here. So we have two different thought processes on it for the Akashic Records. But yes, you can access the Akashic Records using hypnosis. You can go back in there and learn what you were supposed to do here to be able to open it up. Will you be able to access all of them? No, because there's free will. We can know what our path is supposed to be, and it can be set out from us. But if we have free will, whether we want to do it or not. And that's the lesson that you have to learn on this earth, and come back in here and learn what you were supposed to do and how you're supposed to treat everybody. One of the things I think that's happened during this time frame of a pandemic, the anticipatory grief, people not knowing what's about to happen, their parameters have been blasted open. They're unable to function outside of their box that they put themselves in. And as they put themselves in that box and other things and new information's coming in, they're unable to matrix it. And because of that, you're seeing a lot of anger, a lot of projection, even amongst our awakened people. I think I've seen more of my awakened, and I'm not going to say they're friends, awakened accountants of people that's been on my Facebook, on social media, wishing death on other people, wishing the COVID virus, wishing this, wishing that. And if you don't think like this, and I'm thinking, oh Lord, their perspective is so skewed. And so if they were truly awakened, they would realize that everybody's on their own path, and you have to sit there, and whatever their path is, you can't shake their path, but you can watch them. And you can say a few things. I have been ripped up on a couple of very minor things, and I was surprised at. But we are put here with our own perspectives, but we're also sitting here in our karmatic lineage. I hope that answered that question.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Now, what about
Awesome.
when you went to India and you learned advanced meditation? Did you get to experience your Kundalini experience or anything like that?
That was not one that I'm doing, but I am putting together another group. We were supposed to have done it this October. Well, we'll be putting together a retreat there October of 2021.
Is that in Costa Rica or India?
No, that's the India one. Costa Rica is transpersonal meditation. One of the things that a lot of people think when they think of meditation is like the picture behind your head. I can't sit like that because I have 2 new hips. You might never get me back up. A lot of people have the misconception that you have to sit in a specific way, or you have to have incense going, or your hands have got to be in a strange pattern, or the things. Now that's good.
Yeah, they're good. They're helpful, but they're making the rules. You're the spiritual being. You're the powerful one. You can do whatever you wanted. You can be like,
Yeah, you can actually, hands down, going through the feet, hands up, receiving energy, whatever you'd like to do. And a lot of people get put off by that. You can meditate anywhere. Have you watched the movie Eat, Pray, Love?
I haven't. I don't watch much TV, so.
I like movies. Movies just make me happy sometimes. Movies, because you can actually relate to certain things, and people seen it. There's a scene where Julia Roberts' character goes and she is sitting in the ashram in India. And she goes in and she sits down and she's got her hands going, and she looks up and exactly 1 minute has gone by. She feels like she's been in there all day. I also do that, but you don't have to be in that meditative state in a specific way. It is very much quieting your mind, but it's also guiding your mind in the direction that it wants to be in, where self-hypnosis helps. This is the time that you can activate your daydream. Did that make fun? Everybody's told us all those years, don't daydream. This is the time during meditation where you control your daydream. You sit there and you can send yourself to another planet or off into the wild blue yonder. You can set yourself into the middle of an island where the water is coming towards you. You control your daydream. And allow yourself to sit there and go, I'm sitting in the water is rushing over my feet, and then slowly pulling back my anxiety, my depression. I have no feelings but other than complete comfort at this time. What a wonderful feeling I am having right now in this moment. Allowing myself to relax and feeling myself relax from the top of my head all the way down to my toes. What an absolutely amazing feeling this is. And so you actually sit there and you tell your story. You put that story in there in order to be able to relax yourself in that state of meditation, which is a lot like self-hypnosis. It's not the same thing. Now, if you're going to pray for specific things, then you need to learn how to do positive self-talk. And that's what we talked about earlier was the attitude of gratitude, sitting there and learning what you want to say to yourself. But you also have to say, if you focus on something, I don't have any money. I am really concerned about my bills coming in. I don't have any money. And then you sit there and you get into a state of meditation where you're throwing things out to the universe and you say, I have no money, but I'm here for you to give me blessings. Now, the first thing that the spirit heard was, I have no money. Oh, wonderful. That's wonderful. We can give that to you in a whole bucket load. we can dump money on you right now, because of the fact that that's what you put into your intention. And you didn't mean to, but that's kind of what happened. So, yeah, it's one of those things. But as you're sitting there, you can actually go into the deeper state of meditation. And that is one of the things that I learned in India.
It seems like we should have come with an instruction book.
There are so many instruction books out there, I think, on meditation.
That's right for yourself.
Yeah, meditation is so easy. And people want to say, I can't meditate until I get a room to meditate in. That's because they saw somebody had a nice, cute room put together where they can meditate. Well, no, you don't. You meditate in the bathtub. What if you don't have I don't know, any type of a candle that makes you relax? So what? You don't have to meditate there. You can meditate at night before you go to bed. You can say your intentions and prayers. Every night when I go to bed, I have a very long liturgy that I go into that takes me about 30 minutes of saying things like angels and prayer and El Yahweh, All Father, and I go into the different ascended masters for protection and guidance, increased intuitiveness and knowledge, allowing myself to expand that to my family and to my friends, and expand it to everyone to be able to be protected and lifted up with increased intuitiveness and knowledge according to what they're able to understand. Not everybody can understand, especially since they don't have an internal monologue. It's like everybody doesn't understand that. My really good, deep Christian friends that I work with on hypnosis, because lo and behold, some people think that I've stepped right off into witch burning with hypnosis, that certain, sects of religion. But the other ones understand that even Paul and Peter, whenever they were praying, they put themselves into a trance, praying to their God, to what they needed to increase for knowledge that came down to them. So that knowledge was sent to them through power prayer and meditation. So anybody in every part of the different religions can sit there and relax and allow this. Even if you're not religious at all, you do not have to have any type of religion, because of the fact that meditation is not religious. Meditation is a state of mind to be able to allow you to relax and receive information, even if that information is your own.
I think it's really important to receive that information when you come down that journey and you realize that, because it helps you in this life. And, this is just my opinion on it, but religion has basically kind of stunted spirituality. You going within and your journey within to find out what you're here to do, what you're here for, to give you more strength through your journey. And sometimes some religions can stigmatize actual spirituality. And and you're an eternal being, so you are a spiritual being. And that's where I kind of get, with religion. I'm not saying, because I have followed religion and I do believe in Christ. But, I just don't like how the leaders have made it religion and stigmatized spirituality. And then that's when people like us three ladies get, oh, we're the witches,
I think that a lot of times whenever they have the prosperity message, which is unfortunately a lot of our religious leaders, and I'm not going to say any of their names, some of them have they preach on prosperity. Prosperity is set up here instead of on the other side, which is not exactly what their parts of that was meant to do. But one thing that we must also remember is that as we are doing things, we have to have it with a heart to do for others. Mm-hmm. Because as we do for others and help others out, that lifts everybody up in contingency. That lifts us up spiritually, it lifts us up vibrationally, it lifts up the whole consciousness level to a higher plane. If we do everything from a earthbound perspective or body perspective as to what this vessel is, instead of as a consciousness, those people may get things here, but they also have to expand themselves. I'm not saying that it's not nice to have money. And I'm not saying that the eye of a camel and all that crap. What I'm saying is that it depends on what you do it for. It's not, it's what you do it for. What do you really want to do? What do you want? How do we want to raise ourselves up and love and reason ourselves there?
I think one of the biggest problems that I see with religions in general is that they have people thinking that they're worthless and they're a wretched sinner. All these very negative labels that are very damaging to people's psyche, to their ability to raise themselves up. Because you're a sinner, you're bad, you're this, you're that. I believe me, I had my indoctrination.
I think it was spirituality, Christ, God, our creator, our prime creator. That was none of that was meant to be that. And I think sometimes man maybe took it in a way of controlling you to make you realize, that you're weak. They didn't want you to know you were as powerful as you really are, because we're very powerful beings. We're very powerful spiritual beings. We can manifest many things. I've come to realize that. And I noticed how when I got out of that box and I came out into my own, and the more I kind of passed on and came back, because I passed away and came back quite a few times, I was like, wow, I'm eternal. I know I'm eternal. And I got to poke out there different places that many people don't get to go until they just terminate. And just, I really don't think they want you to know you are as powerful as you are, because the ones that kind of control us on this planet, the overall ones that want to, they keep us watching the sports and watching the movies and the TV programming to keep us asleep so we do not get, oh, bored, and then finally realize, hey, look, I can do this, and this is who I am, and I'm so much more than what they told me I was. And
They keep distracted.
yeah, they keep you distracted. And I think where Lisa's great at is because she can teach people how to unhypnotize themselves, see the world, what's around them.
A lot of times what it is diversions. We do diversion as a coping skill. That's actually one of our coping skills, to be able to handle stress, anxiety, depression, grieving, and loss. And so depending on our type of coping skills that we have, that diversion that they're actually providing to us, because they are providing it, we're not providing some of it ourselves. We didn't come up with our own diversions. They were given to us as a test. Think about it. That's a very strange thing to say, that if you have alcohol, you don't have to drink it. That's your diversion, or that's your choice and free will. So the diversions that are provided, can you overcome those diversions in order to be able to become the spiritual entity that you are? And so being unhypnotized, seeing that for what it is a diversion to keep you or numb you from where you want to be. Then you can overcome that and become more of a spiritual being to be able to overcome what you need to.
Whatever your challenges are.
Yeah, whatever your challenge and lesson is that you learn, that you need to learn, that actually can help you get away from those diversions, because that's what you were saying, Sterling. It's the diversions. It's what's going out there, Gail. It's the diversions to keep you from being who you are and recognizing who you are.
Yeah, I'm away from many of the diversions as I've woken up. I'm celibate for 6 years now. I don't drink alcohol for many years now. I've tried to give up a lot of bad things. I still have a few bad things to give up, but and then I'm not on that outside world. Usually when I go out now, I like to go to parks. I like to go to campgrounds. I like to, just be with nature. And usually my friends now are like me. They're out of that paradigm where, people are fighting over what's the next new outfit or nail polish or the nice new big car. My children told me the other day, they were like, Mom, we need to get you a nice bed. And I said, no, I'm happy with the bed I have. And they said, it's just a frame and it's got a foam mattress. And I said, my back feels good with it, actually, but I don't need anything fancy. I don't need that material anymore. I'm past that. I've given up a whole lot of material, a whole lot of material, I noticed. And for instance, when I went out today, I had to go get a few things at the grocery store. And just people around me, I feel them, I see them differently, and I see them as, oh man, they're caught in this box, in this vicious cycle, and oh wow, I really hope they find it and they get out of it and they break out of it like I did.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, since everyone has their own path, and there's only so much we can do to either help people become more conscious that they're unconscious, or however you want to put it without insulting anyone. What can we really actually do to help people?
What we can do is accept them on the level that they're at. Accept them on the level that they're at. Guide them kindly and coming from a place of love. And realizing also, because we do have a tendency to bring home stray cats, is that you have to be able to know when to release them and not allow them to affect you. Because my mother used to say, you lay with dogs, you're going to get fleas. And I never understood that. But if you are a higher vibrational pattern and you're staying with people who are at a lower vibrational pattern, you're going to find your vibrational pattern lowering itself. And so because of that fact, you have to realize that a shark is a shark is a shark. They're going to have to swim like that, and you're not going to be able to change them. You can give them fresh water. You can feed them. You can allow them to know what they need to do differently, but that's up to them to change, to do something different. But sometimes it's just in their nature. And a lot of times, once we realize that about other people, it's a lot easier to let go of that, just to let go of it and realize and let them go. Send love, send light, and let them go on their way.
I have a lot of people come to me and they'll tell me, why can't I wake up this family member? Why can't I wake up? And I tell them all the time, my son and daughter-in-law, they're not at the level I'm at, and I accept them and I love them. My grandchildren get vaccinated. I would have a fit today knowing what I know about vaccines. My children wouldn't get vaccinated, but that's not my life. That's their life to live. And I accept it and I love them for who they are. They share a house with me, but it's a pretty big house. So they have their half, I have my half. They maybe see me 10, 15 minutes a day. And, you know, they have a totally different life over there. Like they'll come over and they're like, oh yeah, mom's burning the frankincense and the myrrh resin and she's playing the crazy music. She must be meditating, chanting, you know. And it's a totally different life on my side versus their side, but we respect each other's boundaries. I try not to go over on their side and say, well, you know, sometimes I have to cringe and I'm like walking in the other room, oh my gosh, they're eating GMOs, you know, and I go running in the other room. But I don't go up to them and yell, oh my gosh, you're eating GMOs, they're going to kill you. I can't do that anymore. I used to do that and all I did was get myself in more trouble and cause more grief. And then their bad energy came back to me because it was not my business to impose on their life like that. That's their life, not mine.
You know, one of the things that is very telling on this is that, but they're going to come to you when they have a question.
Yeah, they always do.
The way that you conduct yourself, and because the way that you allow it to flow freely in and out, Gail, this is what it means: allowing themselves, because at some point, whenever they have to, whenever they start waking up, and what will usually happen is a catastrophe or something during that time frame that's going to actually shake their core and allow them to go, oh, I need to get out of this box. And then they'll start searching for answers. Many years ago, there was a little book called Who Moved My Cheese? On this, it talks about two little mice who were living in a home. Do you know this one, Gail?
Yeah. Okay, so the two little mice are sitting there kind of like right now. Those little mice had all their little food. Everything was given to them. It was absolutely amazing. One day when they got up the mountain, cheese was gone. Gone cheese. And so one little mouse, he decided to pack his family up and he went looking for change because he knew that he didn't want to starve, but he knew he needed to look for something. So he leaves and he goes and finds his cheese. It was different cheese, but it was cheese. It nourished him and fulfilled him. And then he came back and he brought a little piece of that cheese back to his friend who was starving. His friend wouldn't eat that cheese because it wasn't the same type of cheese. So he and his family died in that little cheese, but without his cheese, because they couldn't see that change was inevitable in order to be able to move and grow. It's the same thing with us right now. Some people will take this and they will grow from it. They will be able to unhypnotize their eyes to realize that they're able to move forward to find something new and a new ability to sit there and expand themselves consciously. Some people will not, but that's just in their nature.
So Lisa, you do consult through Zoom or Skype with people?
Yes, I do.
So we'll let people know that and put links down for you.
Okay. I have Cornerstone Paradigm, which is an oxymoron. That's my business name. I have Cornerstone EOL, which is end of life. That's where you can find where I'm actually redoing all of my stuff on Lifter. So I'm putting all of my classes, my online classes on grieving and loss there. I also have a few other things that are in there. I have hypnoticcostarica.com, which won't be in effect this year because of coronavirus. But next year we will start back with our retreats there in Arenal. And then it's pretty easy to find me. I'm on lisasigsworth.com, Lisa Ford Sigsworth, which is on Facebook. You can follow me there. I really don't do a lot of Twitter. I do have Pinterest, which I love. You can go on there and find binaural beats and all kinds of different things on there, and that's Cornerstone Paradigm. Pretty easy to find me. I have a footprint on I have a footprint on Google, according to my children.
Well, I'm going to find you, Lisa, because I think I'd like to do a session at some point.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I come out to California every year to do my end of loss and grief, and so I'll have to pop in over and see you next year.
Oh my gosh, I just got someone who just keeps calling me and I can't talk. I cannot talk now.
Well, I guess we're kind of through with the show anyway. I can hit and record if everybody wants to say bye.
Thank you so much for having me today. And let's chatter.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I loved you. You're great information. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. I have definitely enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, too. Everybody have a beautiful day.
Yes, thank you, Sterling, for the connection and